I don't actually write any new poems, but the other night I couldn't sleep after the Academy Awards, and so I wrote. I ended up in the dunny at 5 a.m. writing my called the Oscar acceptance speech. Well, snored. So this poem, if it is a poem or a speech or whatever it is called my Oscar acceptance speech, written at 5 a.m. in a darkened dunny whilst Melita snores melodiously in the next room. I don't think that gives too much away, does it? How shitty Jesus must be that he never won an Academy Award. Even Sean Penn, after beating up on the Madonna more than the Holy Ghost did, has two of those gaudy statuettes lying amongst the dead hookers under his bed. I'd like to thank God tonight for not getting too uptight about all that, except of course that he doesn't exist. Nor do we really, in any sense that we understand, or at least that I do. You're floating on a 1/billionth share of a piece of dust next to a dying random nuclear reaction that makes Hiroshima look like a bubble bath fart, and all this is happening at the most minuscule end of the Mount Druitt of the universe. And all you're worried about is how many Oscars Sean Penn has lying amongst the half-burnt corpses of Girl Scouts below his pool house. But Sean Penn did do a good job at narrating the audiobook of Bob Dylan's Chronicles. And I'd like to thank Bob Dylan for recently recording an album of Sinatra covers. Frank would no doubt turn in his grave, except of course that a coffin isn't actually big enough to turn around in. And surely if you were still mobile 17 years after they buried you 8 feet under the ground with a few sturdy nails, just to be sure, then Bob Dylan's loss of vocal range would be the least of your worries. You'd be living in an Edgar Allan Poe story. But perhaps we all are. The coffin is our earth, and the nails in the lid are Facebook. Discuss. And now it's thanks to Bob Dylan that I had that image of Frank Sinatra scratching at the roof of his coffin, screaming, "Bafangul, you're murdering autumn leaves, you big Nick Malacca." I'd like to thank Bob for giving me that, and for dyeing his hair for our sins. What would Jesus make of that? And of the Israeli occupation of Gaza? Would he point out that we are floating on the back of a cosmic tortoise that supports the entire universe on the back leg of a marine tick on its gangrenous right thigh? And it's all just part of your personal hero's journey and of mine. It's no wonder you were reluctant to come tonight. So the King of the Jews, by which I mean Jesus, not Dylan, would be rolling in his grave with laughter at that one, and waking up Sinatra next door, Frank banging on the wall shouting, "Vafangul, you big Nick fuck," at poor Jesus, as he attempts to contemplate a largely anti-Semitic religion housed in a castle in an Italian tax haven that is based upon the death of a poor Jew at the hands of the Romans. None of which explains the smell coming from Sean Penn's garage. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Academy.